today, family members. From ODIs now, we are switching our focus to the T20Is against the West Indies. India may have won the series 2-1, but the fact that it even came down to the deciding ODI speaks volumes about how this experimentation is poised on a tightrope if you have to look at it. So, 5 T20Is begin from today: 3, 6, 8, 12 and 13. These are the dates for the 5 T20Is that will be played. One today at the Brian Lara Oval, two at Providence, Guyana, and the other two at Fort Lauderdale in Florida. Now, with the World Cup approaching nearby, there are two major updates when it comes to the World Cup and also the Asia Cup, when we have to say. There is a big question mark on KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer. Now remember, KL Rahul is posting his videos on Instagram wherein he's batting well, he seems to be getting back into the groove in the nets. And also Shreyas Iyer, there is not much updates about him. But now, if you have to look at media reports, for the Asia Cup that begins on August 30th, KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer may not be part of the Asia Cup. Because even if they have recovered from injury, the BCCI are not too keen on rushing both of them back. So that means KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer's chances of the Asia Cup are all but over. Whether they make it to the World Cup, that is another major question that is there. Because remember, September 5th is the date when you have to announce the World Cup squad. Unless any other member gets injured on the technicality, and based on that, there can be replacements. Shreyas Iyer has not posted any such updates on his social media profiles, which means that his injury is still ongoing and his recovery process is still very slow. KL Rahul, on the other hand, you could see him that he was doing his batting drills, he was doing his wicket-keeping drills. But now, the BCCI are not too keen on getting them back in the Asia Cup. Now, if they don't get these two players back for the Asia Cup, what will happen? It means their World Cup participation might also be in doubt. This has also brought about the problem of plenty situation. Now, if KL Rahul is not available, who are you going to play? Who is going to be your wicket keeper? It most likely will be Ishan Kishan. Ishan Kishan, on the other hand, his exploits in the Caribbean, where he hit 3 consecutive 50s, and also because in the last couple of innings, if you may say last 10 to 12 innings, he's hit about 6 50s. It could mean that Ishan Kishan is a sure shot lock-in for not just the Asia Cup, but also for the World Cup. The backup in that case could be KL Rahul. The reverse of what we were thinking. It could also be Sanju Samson, because remember, Sanju had 2 opportunities. He failed in one and grabbed the opportunity in the other. But if Sanju Samson does not make it, then yet again it will continue that unlucky trend wherein in an ODI World Cup year, he had too few chances. I mean, he just had 2 chances. The unfortunate thing about Sanju Samson was that he suffered that inopportune knee injury that came from January to March. And that is the reason why Sanju Samson missed out on valuable game time. Ishan Kishan, on the other hand, he grabbed his opportunity with 3 consecutive 50s in the ODIs. But let us be very clear about it. Those knocks came at the top, at the opening position. Ishan Kishan most likely will be batting at number 4 in your ODI World Cup squad. How do you fit him? How will you ensure that the role changes at that particular time? That is the major conundrum that is there. So the major debate is that KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer might not make it to the Asia Cup, and that is why their chances of playing in the World Cup also, that has taken a slight hit as well. So there'll be a lot of interesting developments coming in the next couple of days about this. But we at Sports Today have got you covered. Now, related to the World Cup also, we all know that October 14th is the date for the India versus Pakistan clash in Ahmedabad. Now, what happens to the other games? Which games will get impacted by this change of schedule? Well, if there are reports to be believed, the ICC will release the schedule in the next couple of days. The BCCI will give its clearance and all the arrangements will be made. New Zealand versus Bangladesh, England versus Afghanistan, and Pakistan versus Sri Lanka, those matches could be rescheduled. Instead of October 12th, when Pakistan versus Sri Lanka was going to be played in Hyderabad, it could now be played on October 10th. That is the rescheduling. These three games mostly, New Zealand versus Bangladesh, England versus Afghanistan, Pakistan versus Sri Lanka, all these three matches could be rescheduled and they might be played at a later date. There is no question that there will be three ODIs played on the same day. Absolutely not. Logistically, broadcast wise, it's a nightmare. So that is why two ODIs, one of them could be shifted to the later date. So this official rejig of the schedule, it might come up today, it might come up in the next couple of days. So today we might get the official confirmation of the ICC and the BCCI about the rejigged ICC World Cup schedule. Because why this situation has come, for all our family members who are watching, this came about because on October 15th, you could not have hosted the game because of the Navratra situation, the security situation, that too in a 140,000 India versus Pakistan match, the Garba and Dandiya situation that was there in Ahmedabad. It meant that the security forces had too much on their plate and they were worried that they might not be able to provide adequate security for this. And that is why they made an appeal to the BCCI. The BCCI listened. And now on October 14th, you will see the India versus Pakistan match. The official rejigging of the other matches, that schedule might be announced today or it might be announced in the next couple of days. But yet again, BCCI's logistical nightmares. That is how the Indian cricket fan is going to face a turbulent time now, because all the hotels, all the flight tickets that the fans might have booked, you now will have to redo it. And remember, it costs a lot of money. And remember, the BCCI situation at this point in time, it is very rich that Hardik Pandya made a comment on, lack of basic facilities in the West Indies. We have seen in the past that even India has fallen short on all those kind of aspects. Why on earth would Hardik Pandya, the statesman of the Indian nation, that he has to go to the West Indies and complain about this? He could have raised the issue to the right channels. He could have asked the BCCI to intervene. The BCCI would have said, yes, we are very disappointed with the facilities. The BCCI should have said that, not Hardik Pandya. So Hardik Pandya's criticism of what happened at Charuba and the existing situation that is there, it wasn't very poor light indeed. I mean, when you are in some other nation criticizing their facilities without the foreground, without the background, it is a really tragic situation. We hope that in the future, this kind of incidents are not repeated at this point. Now, when we look at the ICC World Test Championship, I mean, Australia and England played out a brilliant Ashes series. It was 2-all, and the points that they gained, both might have gained 24 points each, isn't it? But the overrate deduction has been massive. England, essentially, the overrate deduction was so high that they only earned 9 points. Australia earned only 15 points. Now, Usman Khwaja has raised a massive issue about it. Yes, the situation in Manchester meant that it was a washout. But then all the other times, why did they have to ensure that this is a situation? Why did you have to penalize them so badly on the overrates? Now, because of this overrate situation, Australia and England might not make it to the ICC World Test Championship final. And remember, it is a big disadvantage considering the fact that whenever India and all the other Asian nations play on spinning decks, they employ spinners, they can easily get through their overrates. Why on earth, when a fast bowling heavy side has to be penalized? So England and Australia's World Test Championship cycle, after already 3 series in this World Test Championship cycle, their chances of making to the final are now very minimal. So that is the major update. In the special video that I'll be doing shortly, I will tell you where all the deductions happen. It happened in what test and how many overs each team was shot by. So big blow for England and Australia in the World Test Championship cycle. But the overrate deduction, I'm sorry, the ICC will have to really look at it, because this is penalizing fast bowling heavies lineups very badly indeed. So this is where I feel the rule has to change when we look at it. So I'll be doing a special video on that as well. But today, I mean, if I'm getting some comments here, Akash Bharat was saying if there is no Rahul or Iyer, then they'll continue with Ishan and Sanju. Yes, Ishan and Sanju. But what if KL Rahul is fit, Akash? What if KL Rahul is fit and then they suddenly get him into the squad? That means Ishan and Rahul will be there in the 15. Sanju's chances take a big hit then. You cannot have all the three players in the side. So Ishan and Sanju will be there in the Asia Cup, but what about the World Cup? Will they play KL Rahul for that? Maybe they might not. So that is the situation in the Indian cricket team at this point, because the recovery from the injuries for those two players has been very, very slow. Now from cricket, let us shift our attention to other sports. And today, historic day in Chennai, because 16 years later, international hockey returns to the city. And because of the fact that it is going to be in Chennai, the Asian Champions Trophy, India, China, Pakistan, South Korea, Malaysia, they are all coming back in. And remember, the arrival of China and Pakistan, despite not having good relations, is a big, big boost to the country. Because remember, Pakistan had to have special visas arranged. They arrived via Wagah to Amritsar. From Amritsar, they came to Chennai. So today, from 3rd to 12th of August, the Asian Champions Trophy is going to begin. And the Asian Champions Trophy is the ideal build-up for the Asian Games that will begin from September. India have had a pretty punishing schedule, by the way. They just had a three-nation tournament in Germany. Then they had the Spanish 100th anniversary federation tournament, where the men's team secured bronze and the women's team ended on top. Here, then, they'll be playing the Asian Champions Trophy. Today is India versus China, and we'll be doing a live on that. So stay tuned to Sports Today for that. There is going to be a new rule change. Yes, when it comes to the penalty stroke situation, there is going to be a rule change. Many people haven't divided on that part, and that's why it's going to be a big, big situation. Now, when we look at other sports, there is also archery. And in the ongoing World Archery Championships, you are seeing that India defeated favorites Colombia. And defeating Colombia is a massive, massive task, because along with South Korea, they are the other team that does well in archery. So India beat Colombia in the World Archery Championships, and that's going to be a big deal indeed. We end this morning with a tribute to a legend, and Italian football keeper and Juventus legend Gianluigi Buffon has finally announced his retirement. I mean, what a legend he was when it comes to the international and for the domestic arena. So, when you look at it, 176, he's the most capped goalkeeper of all times. The only big title missing from Buffon's was the Champions League, having lost 3 finals with Juventus. So Buffon has finally announced his retirement, but what a legendary career it was. And in which channel is the hockey match? Jai Krishnan, maybe it might be in one of the others, maybe News 18 or the Sports 18 channels. Maybe it is on that. So that is how we are looking at this action-packed week. There is the Asian Champions Trophy. There's also the T20Is against West Indies that India will be playing. And we are also building up to the Asia Cup and also to the World Cup as well. And remember, pretty action-packed period from August to September, because the Asia Cup is there immediately after that. It is going to be a very, very big situation indeed. So it is Gianluigi Buffon, my friend, Akash Bharadwaj. I'm reading it right out of a TOI news. I mean, look at it. Oh, wait a minute. You look at it. Can you see it? Can you see it, Akash? That's all. It's Buffon, my friend. So I'm reading it out of the newspaper. So I've got all the newspapers that are lined up in front of me for this. So that is why it is going to be a big, big situation indeed. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this live. We'll be back with more updates on Sports Today. Tap that bell icon so you know when we go live. And don't forget, we are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Thank you.